Welcome, everyone, to this edition of Popcorn Diaries. Well, seeing that we're getting close to Oscar night, we thought it only appropriate that we pick one of Hollywood's best to kind of review their career, what they've done, good and bad, and just give you our general opinions on this person's wonderful career. So we threw a bunch of names in the hat, picked one out, and it came out to be Glenn Close, a wonderful actress. She's been nominated 6 times for an Academy Award, and she has had some wonderful performances and been in movies, TV. She's done voiceovers. She has done a ton of stuff. So let's go ahead.
Broadway.
Oh, Broadway too. That's true. So let's go ahead and jump right in.
So, speaking of Glenn Close, you have to speak of her career as a whole. She's had some great things going on. And, every actor has some misses. Over the years, she has had a wide variety of roles in many different genres, including romance, drama, comedy, you name it. She's done children's movies. She's even done Broadway shows. Starting off, she did a few TV movies.
Yes, she did.
Those were some of the first things that she did on video. So she was in Too Far to Go, The Orphan Train, and The Elephant Man.
Yep, which that had huge reviews back in 1982, a long time ago.
Yeah, she definitely started off right her career. And then she jumped into Hollywood and decided to do a feature movie, which was The World According to Garp. And right off the bat, she gets nominated for an Academy Award. So you can tell that this was an up-and-coming star. This was somebody that was going to rise to the top. This was a particularly controversial film. You had a lot of themes about feminism on screen, exploring the many avenues of female sexuality. So this was not an easy role to play. Glenn Close came out right off the bat with a dramatic performance that got her this nomination. And she was playing Robin Williams' mother. Robin Williams is also in this film. She was only 4 years older than him, though. So that was kind of crazy that she, was only 4 years older than Robin Williams, and she's playing his mother.
Yeah, that was a great start for her. Her other roles, like you said, when she started out in TV, were small and minor for the most part. And she just jumped into this role and did just an outstanding job. If you've never seen The World According to Garp, what a fun movie to watch.
Definitely.
It is all over the place. There is great humor. You could almost argue she should have won the Academy Award that year. Great performance by her. Folks, if you haven't seen it, check it out. You'll be in for a treat because she did such a great job just basically starting out way back in 1982. So after The World According to Garp, she had a couple other roles. The Big Chill, that was a great role for her, and a couple others. And then we roll into The Natural, which is arguably one of the best baseball movies of all time. Robert Redford was in this. Robert De Niro was in it. You don't even have to be a sports person to just get chills watching this movie. It is so good. Her performance is so good. It's got drama in it. It's got mystery. Robert Redford does an outstanding job, and I think she should have won for that performance.
Yeah, she'd already been in a few other films, and her performances have always been very solid. So the fact that she didn't win this year is kind of a downer because she really deserved this nomination, and she really deserved the Oscar for this. The story was rock solid, and that's what, let them really play their characters out that well.
And then you look at a couple of years later, probably her most defining role, and that's Fatal Attraction.
Oh, yeah.
And if Fatal Attraction doesn't send you in the corner to run and hide, nothing will.
Glenn definitely took this role and made it her own. This is the role that really kind of defines most of her career. This was just such a crazy movie. Wow, what can you say about this movie other than it sends chills down your spine? You meet someone,
and you never know.
You have a conversation. Sometimes things lead to other things, but you never know what this person is like. You never know in the background who they are, what they've done in their life, and you don't know if this is the person that is going to change your life for the worst.
For the worst is an understatement, folks.
If you want to pick any movie to watch of Glenn Close's career, this is the one that you should start off with, and then watch all her other stuff because it's all great. A couple things about this movie. It had a different ending in the beginning, but when they showed it to audiences, they did not quite like it, so they actually had to go back and reshoot the ending. And Glenn was a little adverse to kind of reshooting the ending. And she said, and I quote, "The original ending was a gorgeous piece of film noir. She kills herself, but makes sure that his prints are all over the knife and he gets arrested. He knows he didn't do it, but he's going to jail anyway. But the audience wanted some kind of cathartic ending. So we went back months later and shot the ending that's in the movie now." So, you know, maybe sometime they'll release another version with the alternate ending. I don't know if they have released it yet, but if they have, definitely got to catch watch that one. Another thing is that Glenn is the type of performer that really prepares for her roles.
Yeah, she does.
When she finally secured this role of Alex Forrest, she actually went to see a psychiatrist and wanted to know if this was a scenario that was possible. And if it was possible, what would lead a person to that? So she did her study. She did in-depth research on what her character should be like, and it really plays out on screen. You really see the demented mind behind this person who's stalking this man.
Yeah, and just, stalking by itself is just creepy in that. But you're right, she dug into that role.
But a female stalking, it's just, that's what made this role so controversial. It wasn't just the male stalking a female serial type killer kind of situation. This was a woman stalking a man. That's, something that hadn't been really explored in Hollywood up until this point.
You're absolutely right. That was a ground that hadn't been trampled on before. So, that was, and that got her the, the nomination for an Academy Award there too. So in the 80s, folks, we had 3 great movies that she got nominated for. And then after that, we had a bit of a dry spell.
The 80s were really her peak era.
Yes, they were.
Dangerous Liaisons was still in 88, but then you had all the stuff in the 90s that was just kind of...
Yeah, she did, she did Hamlet, she did Hook. Remember that one, folks?
Yeah, she did the Mary Riley, which was, whoa, what a film.
Then we roll into the 90s, and we start to fall into what we call maybe not so great choices.
I've got to say, 101 Dalmatians is not one of the movies that would ever be nominated for Oscars other than maybe the CG work.
Right.
Glenn Close sells Cruella de Vil.
Oh, yeah. She was a great Cruella de Vil.
Oh, Lord. I loved her in that role. She was just, I hated her.
Yeah.
She made you hate that role. And that was the purpose. Yeah. That is who Cruella de Vil is. She's a hateful character, and Glenn Close really sold it. Yeah. So even though that wasn't, one of her best choices in her career, it was still a great and solid performance.
And when you watch that movie, I can't picture anyone else playing that part but her.
And she has that maniacal laughter down in that movie.
Yeah, she does. She does. She was absolutely perfect for that. And then in that same year, she went and did Mars Attacks.
Oh,
which is on my, what were you thinking list. How do you even describe this movie? It's tongue-in-cheek. It's aliens, it's humor, it's stupidity. It's got everything, and I'm not even sure this is a good B movie, but it's got somewhat of a cult following.
It does.
Because there are so many actors and actresses that we know from Hollywood that are in the same. I mean, they found everybody, including Tom Jones.
I mean, anyone that was on the lot was on this movie.
And she plays the First Lady and, right alongside of Jack Nicholson, who plays the president. And it's just hilarious. If you've never seen the movie, go get it. You'll understand why it's got a bit of a cult following.
There's a lot of comedy and humor in this movie. And you would think, she's more of a serious actor, but she played to the comedy,
She did. She absolutely did. And then 1 year later, she does Air Force One and plays a very serious vice president. And that was a great role for her there. So she can really, flick that switch. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then after that, she did a lot more TV work, TV series. She actually was on Freedom, A History of Us, which was a documentary series. She played herself. She also did The West Wing, another political kind of role. And then that led us to The Stepford Wives.
Yeah.
Wow, another very creepy role for her. This is just a creepy world that you're in. You just don't know what's wrong. You know that there's something wrong in this world, but you just quite can't put your finger on it. That's what's so great about this movie, is that you're watching the whole thing and, they let you feel that you're just like, something's not just quite,
It's a little too perfect of a world.
Yeah. And she just plays this character to perfection, this 1950s modernized woman who does everything for her husband, learns to dance, has perfect manners. It's just completely creepy in our world today. But she really sold this performance. I really like her in this.
Yeah, and this movie is a remake of the original that came out some years before that. Both movies are very watchable. If you got a kick out of the Stepford Wives that Glenn Close was in, definitely check out the one that was made 15 or 20 years before that. So a few things happen after that, but not too much. A little voiceover work and a few other movies, and that kind of brings us
to today. I mean, her latest role was Guardians of the Galaxy this past year.
Yep.
She played Nova Prime. Not one of her most outstanding roles. It was kind of a small role in the movie. She was, like a general. They didn't really
she was
quite say what she was.
She was like a commander or something.
She seemed like a commander, but her performance wasn't commanding. That's my thing about it.
It was a little confusing.
Yeah, she was just, kind of giving out orders, but there was no urgency in her tone. It was kind of a flat performance for her. So I was kind of surprised to see that even though this was supposed to be a commander, she was in charge of the armies, she was supposed to lead these troops out. She was kind of like, okay, let's see what we can do.
A little bit going through the motions, maybe, but, Guardians of the Galaxy is still a great movie.
All around, it's an awesome movie, but her performance in this just didn't sell it for me.
And, of course, her last nomination was back in 2011 for Albert Nobbs, which is just a fantastic movie, folks. You got to see this, where she basically plays a man.
Yeah, another controversial role for her. She loves these controversial roles, and she knows how to sell them because she does her research. So, a great performance for her. Definitely can see why they nominated her. And going down the line, I mean, we had her nominated for Albert Nobbs in 2011.
Yep.
Then all the rest of her nominations are in the 80s.
That's true.
So we have 89. She was nominated for Dangerous Liaisons, which was another phenomenal movie, another controversial role. Then again in 88, she had Fatal Attraction. And then 85, we had The Natural. 84, we had The Big Chill. And then in 83, The World According to Garp. So you can definitely tell that the 80s were the peak of her career. You know, she started out really strong, and then we've had kind of a pause and lag in some of the roles that she's played since then. But, we'll see. She's still got some things coming our way in 2015.
Yeah. I don't think she's done.
No, she's definitely not done. She's going to be coming out in a movie called Anesthesia in 2015, as well as the great Gilly Hopkins. So we'll see what type of roles these are. I don't know exactly what these movies are all about. There's not a great load of information about them yet.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% because, she was so strong in the 80s, and then she went over 20 years before she got nominated again with Albert Nobbs. To come back 20 years later and get nominated again, you still got it.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do.
No,
a lot of actors do have these pauses where they either don't do any work or where they just take, minor roles and then they come out hitting hard. But for her, it was about 20 years. So, to have done that, great for her.
And I don't know what roles, or how good those roles will be coming up to her here in the next few years. But you know what? I don't think she's going to walk away empty-handed by the time she wraps up her career.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. Somewhere along the line, she's definitely going to take that Academy Award. So that's going to wrap it up for us today, folks. I hope you enjoyed our review of Glenn Close's career. Coming up in February, it's going to be all Oscar month. So we are going to do a few episodes regarding the Oscars, past winners, past, acceptance speeches, maybe. A lot of little details here and there. So look forward to that. Along with that, the reason we are hitting the Oscars so hard here at the library is we will be showing the Oscars here at the library. So you can come in, and we're going to have our huge meeting room open. They're going to have the giant screen on. We're going to have popcorn, candy, snacks, and a lot of games. So if you do like watching the Oscars, come out and watch it with us. I guarantee you will have a great time.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Adriana and I have already picked our Oscar winners. So if you're down here in Studio 300, check out the big board. We've got our picks there, and we will be talking about that leading up to Oscar night. But it's going to be a great time. It'll be fun for all.
It'll be fun for everyone. So thank you for joining us today on this episode of Popcorn Diaries. As always, I'm Adriana.
And I'm Joe.
And this was Popcorn Diaries.